How to be self-sufficient?
So when you evolve, when you aim to become a better human, and how do you do that? See, we have three aspects in us. The body acts. What sort of actions are we performing? If your actions are self-centered now, you could convert self-centered actions into unselfish actions. You know, you bring in this concept of service and sacrifice in your actions, whatever you do. That is improving yourself at the physical level. Emotionally, we all have love. Everybody has love, that emotion of love. But this love could be polluted with selfishness. In fact, if we could put a formula, love plus selfishness equals attachment.
Love
Plus selfishness is equals to attachment. Meaning it's conditional love. I love you because you're nice to me. The moment you're not nice, it alters. So when love is conditional, conditioned to what? My demands, my needs. That is love, but it's tainted with selfishness. That is what attachment is. But attachment, which most people are experiencing in relationships, if you remove the selfish aspect in an attachment, you've got love, pure love. Because it's not conditional.
So love would be love is equal to?
Attachment minus selfishness. The I factor, the my factor. What about me? All the time the attention is upon oneself. Are you catering to my demands? Then I care for you. The moment you stop catering, my love alters. So pure love is when you accept another unconditionally.
Yeah.
You may take your time to, decide who you want to associate with. But once you make that decision, in talking about a marriage, it's a commitment. Then you don't put conditions. You accept the person as he is or she is. Knowing, you may say, why? Because nobody is perfect. I mean, we'd admit that we have strengths and weaknesses. We have imperfections. And we're dealing with it quite happily. Now, why can't you do that with the other person? The other person also has certain imperfections. So we got to learn to understand and go along with those imperfections. This is the second discipline. How to evolve. We're still on the subject of how to become a better human. So as far as actions are concerned, you bring in service and sacrifice in whatever you do. As far as emotions are concerned, love, you have to get rid of the selfish aspect in that noble feeling of love towards your spouse, towards your children, towards parents, towards anyone. And the third discipline is to gain knowledge of higher values. Now you can decide where you want to get it from. Whatever the source be, you've got to associate with higher values of life. When we talk about higher values, so in our Shastras, I talked about the Vedanta philosophy. It merely contains what is referred to in Sanskrit as Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma simply means eternal principles of life and living.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. See, what was true of the older generation is very applicable to the present generation, and it will continue to be applicable to future generations as long as we are human beings. So it's not only in time, but it applies to all humans across the globe, because these are human values. And humans as we are, we need to learn them. Now the problem here is it's not taught in schools. There's something called subjects like morals and ethics that are taught. But we're talking about factors that make a human humane. There are various factors. And first things first, you start developing from the basics and slowly evolve. The idea is wherever you are, each one has equal opportunity to grow, to evolve. So when you have these three disciplines going at the physical, emotional, and intellectual level, you're going to develop yourself. You're going to evolve to becoming a better human. So to the extent you develop yourself, I've told you briefly how to do that, to that extent you are less dependent upon the world. You're living in the same world, doing the same things that you've always been doing, but now there's a difference. Because you have set this program of self-development, you become less dependent. So you could say self-development and dependence upon the world are inversely proportioned. The more evolved you are, the less dependent you will be. And that brings about peace and happiness in you.
Oh, lovely.